He danced in everything from Mr. Mistoffolees in Cats to Freddie Mercury in Queen at the Ballet, Caesar in Cleopatra, Senore Bellini in the Two Pigeons and Dorking in Daphnis and Chloe. He has produced and choreographed ballets in Port Elizabeth, Pietermaritzburg, Harare, Windhoek and Cape Town. He's the one, the only ballet master, Robin van Wyk. Welcome, Robin.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have you on the podcast today. I've been very lucky to be trained by Robin, as many ballet dancers in Cape Town have, so it's very special to have you here today. Right, let's jump right into it. When, where, and why did you start dancing?
My grandparents were very, they wanted to expose us to a lot of culture. So we used to go to the theatre from when we were about 6. And I saw Dawn Weller dance in La Fille Malgade at 6 years old. And apparently my grandparents said I sat holding the chair with such enthusiasm. And at the end of the performance, I just said, that's what I want to do. Yeah. And 2 weeks later, I was enrolled with the Brenda McLaughlin School of Dance in Pietermaritzburg.
Crazy. Yeah. 6 years old is very young to
decide that's what you want to do.
And then from there, was it always that?
It was always that. It was going to be a career. There was kind of no stopping me. I knew at that age that I wanted to do ballet.
That's amazing. And so you danced in Pietermaritzburg for how long?
Till I was about 17, and then I went to UCT School of Dance, and I was trained by Dudley Tomlinson and Professor Trichardt, along with other teachers at the school.
Yeah.
But I think when you're growing up and you're the only boy in a studio, you get teased a lot, and there's lots of stuff coming at you. But
yeah,
I was very stoic in my journey. I knew what I had to do. So I had lots of friends defend me on the soccer field, girls punching boys if they were teasing me. But when I got to ballet school in Cape Town, it was so amazing to dance with 17 other boys.
Wow.
And you kind of then only were trained as a male dancer.
Yeah.
And I often encourage female teachers who have boys to send them to male teachers. It's a completely different experience.
Yeah.
Learning ballet with a male teacher.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So ballet and then cats. How did that come about your life path?
A ballet career is very short. By the time you're 40, it's finished. So, and you know that as a dancer. So I had set goals for myself, and I had to be a soloist by the time I was 25, and I had to be a principal when I was 30. And I wasn't given that. So I said, I can't do this anymore. So Peter Turin was auditioning for Cats, and I'd never sung before, and I'd never been in the world of musical theatre, so I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But I went along, and they were very happy with me, and Joanne Robinson said, are there more of you? And I said, what do you mean? She says, this is a ballet dancing musical, and we need strong, classically trained dancers. So I said, yes, there's a whole ballet company in Cape Town. So Peter Turin then approached Elizabeth, who was our CEO, and he said, I'm going to help your ballet company financially if you send more dancers to be in Cats. So 6 of us got into Cats from Cape Town City Ballet.
That's amazing.
In the second day, Joe said, you're not going to sing. And I kind of went, what? I'm in a musical, I'm not going to sing. I did sing Happy Birthday for my audition, so maybe that had part to do with it. She just said there weren't strong enough dancers to dance through the entire show. So I became a mute cat. So a lot of the time the performers went to do the singing rehearsals. She would just rehearse me in huge chunks of the Jellicle Ball. And
wow.
So it was a very hard physical show for me.
But, well, you're doing more than you're supposed to, and Cats is already hectic.
Yes. But I loved every minute of it. She taught me so much about production and lighting and acting and the use of the entire body and the face. Yeah. That performance is not just a stuck-on smile and a twinkly eye. The whole body must project and be able to pass the footlights. And that entire experience for 4 years was just incredible. And every time we moved cities, I danced in 13 cities of the world.
Yes.
It just got better and got richer, and she found new levels of finding your character. I remember once I was so tired in Kuala Lumpur, and she said, right, everybody put on their tails. We're going to go back to the beginning. We're going to sniff each other and lie down and wake up like cats. And I went, seriously? This is now year 3. If I have to sniff another tail, why not just go and practice some a la second turns in the corner? But yeah, she was just the most incredible person. And to watch young artists grow with her guidance was amazing.
That's awesome. That's so cool. And Cats is like, I don't know, being Atlanta, like everyone seemed to be in Cats. That's how you all know each other. This was like the thing that brought this whole industry together.
Yeah, I think it was the first huge international production that Pietermaritzburg had bought. So all the bells and whistles were going, and the set was imported, and we were wearing costumes of performers from Australia and the UK. So it was such a buzz, and it was an incredible experience. And meeting people like Dwayne and Anton, and they were so young, and where they are today, and we've been friends for so long, and just watching their journey along with my journey in the industry has just been phenomenal.
Yeah. Right. Did you start out your career wanting to choreograph, or was that something that organically developed?
It fascinated me from when I was about 11. We got to the studios in Natal, were invited to choreograph something. So all kids could do something, and I did a solo as a pirate with a saber and a hat and everything. And I got 92% for this, and I was suddenly bitten by this bug. And then the next year I entered again, and I created a whole corps de ballet of girls. And I had my grand make skirts from curtaining, and it was just so fascinating. And it's an absolute passion of mine. So I've been doing it since I was very young. My partner Johnny always says he doesn't know how I do it so fast, and it just comes out of me. At the moment, I'm working on Aladdin for Pietermaritzburg. It'll be my 6th ballet for KZN Youth Ballet. And I've done half the ballet already in 2 weeks. And it's something I really, really enjoy more than teaching class.
Well, you're an excellent teacher too. That's crazy that you choreograph so fast. Do you feel like new stuff just arrives in your brain? Like, what's the process like for you?
I'm inspired by film.
Okay.
I love watching movies and how the director creates a scene, and to kind of transport that and transpose that into ballet, because there are no words. You just have dance and your body. So I love watching films, and particularly period drama, and how they handle a scene and how it's costumed and directed and produced. It really affects how I tell stories on stage with dance and music.
That's so cool. I didn't know that about you, Robs. Wow. Right. You've now achieved one of the highest teaching qualifications in RAD ballet. How important is specialization in the creative world?
I think the most important thing as artists, we must never stop wanting to learn. I think if you have settled and you've decided you've arrived, then you should give up.
Yeah.
Especially in dance, it's constantly evolving. Ballet has come such a long way. It's become such an athletic sport. And the body is an instrument that has to be constantly nurtured and improved on. And along with improving technique, you've got to know how to look after a dancer's body and your own body. It's your instrument. So constantly learning and educating yourself in that is very, very important. I was brought up with the Royal Academy of Dance since I was 6. I did pre-primary when I was 6, and I got my solo skill when I was 18. And I only became a qualified teacher about 4 years ago, but I'd always been teaching.
Yeah.
It was during lockdown. So everybody hated being stuck at home. I was loving it because I got to study online.
Yeah.
And then they invited us to audition to become examiners. And I thought, that's for old people. It's something, a little old lady sits behind a desk and marks you with a blanket on her knees, But so many people encouraged me to do it. And I got through the audition process and went to London for 6 weeks to train as an examiner. And oh my goodness, it was like you were at the fountain of knowledge.
Wow.
And a whole different experience on how to teach children. And I've come back so much more enriched from it. And I'm so glad I did it. But it was very hard. And you're seeing different things now. You teach, but you're seeing it from the other side. You're seeing it from what the examiner is looking for.
Yeah.
And that has been an incredible experience.
Yeah. What was the greatest thing you learned while you were in London?
I think because it's not a physical job, you're sitting.
Yeah.
Your brain is working so hard. And there's a time frame within to mark something. Like Advanced 1 has 55 minutes. And all those steps and all those exercises have to be watched, observed, and marked.
Yeah.
In that short frame of time. And it is taxing on the brain.
Yeah.
So you start at 10 o'clock and at 5:30 you finish, and I was exhausted mentally.
Yeah, I mean, you're watching literally every part of the body, every step, everything.
Because a child comes into an exam prepared. They are delivering an exercise. So you're actually looking for things that are not in accordance with technique or musicality or performance. So you have to watch it with a complete critical eye, yet at the same time, is it good? Is it very good? Is it fair? Is it adequate?
Yeah.
So you've got to keep, you the minute she starts or he starts dancing, you have to completely
switch on and...
There's no time for exhaustion. There's no time for thinking of other things. You have to be completely focused on that dancer performing that exercise.
Do you like the discipline of ballet?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I think a lot of children shy away from it. You get all the 600 little pre-primaries dressed in pink, and by the time they're 13 and 14, the class is down to 3.
Yeah.
It's much easier to do hip-hop or modern.
Yeah.
So it is it's an all-defining art form, and it is demanding, and there's no in-between color. Ballet can only be black or white.
Yeah.
It's got to be done a certain way.
Yeah.
There's no compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only did ballet growing up, even though it is my weakest dance form. But I love that, like, I knew what I was working towards, and it was such a challenge for me. Like, I loved how difficult it was to do a plie. I was like, and I'm going to work this plie. Whereas, like, my sisters or my friends, like, naturally were better at ballet. So they're bored of it and they stopped doing it long before I did. I'm like, I'm still perfecting the plie, So I love ballet in that sense. Like, it's like, you know what you're working towards, and literally standing at the bar, you can do a plie, just like a plie, or you can do the plie.
There's so many components to a good plie.
Yeah.
I think it was because I had a difficult body. I didn't have great feet. I didn't have natural turnout. I didn't have natural extension. So I love teaching kids who are less talented because I like to bring out something they didn't even know they had.
Yeah.
And that's what's the true goal and enjoyment of teaching.
Yeah.
Kids experience, wow, I can actually do this, but in a different way.
Yeah.
And it'll still be good.
Yeah.
Compared to the kids who have all this natural facility.
It's like...
And they get bored quickly.
Yeah. Ballet can be boring if you've got the perfect ballet body. So, yeah, I don't know. Very cool. Right. What have been your favorite shows to choreograph?
I think, like getting into a ballet company and aspiring to be a principal, I think every classical choreographer has a ballet they would like to put their stamp on. Yeah. And mine was Romeo and Juliet. So the music, the Prokofiev score, tells the story so beautifully. And I waited a long time to get that opportunity. I'd choreographed a lot of children's ballets and one-act ballets. And then Elizabeth Trichard said, I think we should do Romeo and Juliet for Maynardville. And I said, Maynardville's an outdoor theatre. I'm going to have no set. She said, that's going to be your challenge. And I just loved every moment of that experience. I mean, I had incredible dancers in front of me. I had Laura Bosenberg and Thomas and Revel and Rosamund Ford and Kim Vera, and every ballerina wants to do Juliet.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to fall in love and die within an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And
not just the ballerinas.
Yes. And the whole company loved the experience.
Yeah.
And I created it while we were performing Nutcracker, and was so busy, but everybody was loving being a part of this new project.
Yeah.
With no set. So a massage bed became the bed that Romeo and Juliet woke up on, and then at the end it became her tomb.
Oh, crazy.
And we covered it in the correct fabric, and we cut the legs off, and that the men could carry her on it. And there were actually only 3 pieces of furniture in the whole ballet.
That's crazy.
And they had to tell the story.
But that's a good challenge. Like, it's so fun to work like that, because then also the cast gets so excited as well, because they're like, how can we see this as this, you know?
And it then can be done anywhere.
Yeah.
So you can still add a set to it, like we did at the Grahamstown Festival.
Yeah.
6 months later, we added the magnificent set from the Cape Town Ballet of Veronica Paper. And yet at the same time, at the Eau de Libertas, 6 months later, we went back to the stripped down version.
3 pieces of furniture.
And it worked perfectly again.
That's amazing.
So that for me was my legacy ballet.
Oh.
And then also doing a 1-act ballet to, what is the composer? I called it Romance, but I cannot get Rachmaninoff, the piano concerto.
Yeah.
So I spoke to the orchestra, the Cape Town Orchestra, and I said, I want to do this ballet with full orchestra. And they said, Robin, you do know that no one's ever played all 3 movements. It's 35 minutes of piano.
Yeah.
He does not rest. We've always just done 1. And I said, well, there must be somebody who wants to do all 3 of these pieces. And Francois at UCT, what is Francois' surname? He's a lecturer there. He actually said, I'd like to take this on. And when he decided to do it, I said, right, we're taking the orchestra out of the pit and putting them on the stage. And they became the background to the ballet.
Oh, amazing.
And it was just the most incredible experience.
That's so cool. You found someone that was willing to play the whole thing for you.
Exactly.
That's amazing. And what's your favorite role that you've danced?
James in La Sulfide. It's a ballet set in the Scottish Highlands, and he falls in love with a ethereal creature, a sylph, and he cannot touch her, because if he touches her, she'll die. So the whole ballet, you're dancing with this girl that you cannot touch, and there's so much emotion to it, and the most incredible choreography, and the most powerful yet sad story. And the evil protagonist in the story is Madge the witch, and James kicks her out of his house, and in her revenge she creates this beautiful scarf, and he says to James, you can catch the sylph with the scarf, but the scarf is poisoned and it kills her. It is one of the most beautiful roles to dance.
Yeah. Do you think that there's like a I don't know, what's the word, like fake news about ballet, like that you can't perform, it's not like acting? Because I feel like a lot of people just think like dancing it perfectly is enough. And then like for me, like, you're one of my favorite ballet dancers because you like are such a performer and tell the story.
Yeah, dance is so dimensional. There's technique, there's musicality, but performance overrides all of that.
Yeah.
And some kids are born with it. They
Yeah.
have a natural, beautiful understanding of filling space without actually doing anything. Others you have to teach. And I remember when I was reading Kenneth Macmillan's biography, and he'd written Romeo and Juliet on Lynn Seymour. And just before she decides to go to the friar to get the poison, she sat and held the edge of the bed, and she did nothing for 64 bars of music. And she just stared into the audience. And then Margot Fontaine got to do it and she said, I can't do this. You have to give me steps. I cannot sit here and stare at the audience. But Lynn Seymour was such an incredible actress.
Yeah.
She knew what to do with space and time.
Yeah.
And I think when you meet a ballerina who can do that,
It's got both. It's the most magical thing to watch.
it's like putty in a choreographer's hands.
Yeah.
And, you create steps and then she knows what to do to the next step, or she does the lift on one side of the stage
Yeah.
and she knows how to transform her body and her shape to move into the next thing.
Yeah. It's incredible.
And that's just incredible to work with a muse like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you bring out performance in the more technical robotic dances?
Ooh. It takes gentle guidance because you can break a dancer down
Yeah.
trying to pull that out.
Yeah, yeah.
And as a director, I always sat in the auditorium and watched. I'm going, how can I get that kid to perform that it passes the footlights,
Yeah.
that it's not just dancing steps? And she thinks she's acting, but it's not crossing, it's not coming out of it. It's almost not sincere.
Yeah.
And that's what you've got to try and bring out of dancers. A father once came to me and he said, I want you to train my daughter for 6 hours a day, like the Williams sisters, the tennis stars. I want you to perfect the backhand, but obviously her tendu or rond de jambe.
Yeah.
She's going to be homeschooled and this is the challenge. And I just said, no, your daughter has to experience life. She has to go to school. She has to make friends. She has to fall in love. She has to have her first kiss.
Yeah.
There is so much that's going to evolve in her to become a ballerina,
Yeah.
other than a tendu or a rond de
Yeah.
jambe. Because if you take her away from her friends, from school, from society itself, and you box her into backhand for 6 hours,
Yeah.
she's not going to be able to express Juliet.
Be nothing there.
She won't express Giselle, or she won't be the Sugar Plum Fairy. She'll just be a backhanded ballerina.
Exactly. Wow.
No.
Love you, Robs. Well, that was Robin the Creative. Come back in 2 weeks to find out more about Robin the Professional. All right. Bye.